Greetings, programs, and welcome to another episode of Recruit a Friend, the show where we learn about the people behind the keyboard. Today, we're sitting down with a raid leader, live event producer, Dayglow hero, and the biggest Ret Paladin pumper west of the Alamo. Let's give a big Recruit a Friend welcome to Rollie Rodz. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
It's good. I gotta ask, Rollie, because everybody's gonna ask. Gonna be the top comment on this video. What is up with the sunglasses, my man?
Dude, I don't know if anybody knows of this TikToker, but his name is, I think it's like Lou Bance or Lulu Bance or something like that. He's like the Forbidden Vibes guy. Right. And he always wears like these like Fanta like cut off like t-shirts and like these little short shorts. And he's always got the pit vipers on. And he's always doing like he like sits there saluting and is like lower is like gyrating. And it made me want to buy pit vipers. I don't know. Like I was like, it's the Forbidden Vibes. I gotta have it.
I love it. I gotta tell you, this is my first episode recorded with sunglasses on, and the blinding Elgato key lights are a lot nicer this way.
Okay, so part of it too was like, okay, I used to stream at night. I've moved to daytimes, or to the mornings. But I was like, the light's in your face and it's blue light and all that stuff. So I was like, I feel like it kind of helps. It's not full on, blue light blockers, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, we're going to have a stretch goal for this episode. If by the end of this episode, we can get 45 likes, Rollie will take his sunglasses off for us.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's pre-recorded. We'll have no way to know if that happened. So we'll have to see how it goes.
We're going to get
it. Rollie, I need you to tell me, how did you first get exposed to the world of Warcraft?
Okay, this is funny. I've been thinking about this one, and I think you're gonna find it really funny. Okay, so I think it was 2008. I'm pretty sure it was the summer of 2008, maybe 2009. I graduated high school in 2008, and so I was like, I'm going into college, so there's absolutely no homework. I have nothing to do, so I just started playing video games. And I wasn't really a big PC gamer. I was like an Xbox 360 guy, PS2, console gamer. And I was playing games. And I was like, man, I kind of have this idea of like what I want in a game. And so I just started playing a bunch of stuff or whatever. And I'd always heard like, oh, World of Warcraft, that's for nerds or whatever. That's for losers or whatever. And so like it put me off on wanting to play it. So like, I never played it, but then I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, I'm just going to try it. And Sean, I came up with the idea of World of Warcraft before I ever played World of Warcraft. So in a sense, I created World of Warcraft. I just didn't know that World of Warcraft was a thing, if that makes sense. But I played it and I was like, this is it. This is like, it was like a eureka moment of like, I found it. I found the game that I've always wanted to play. And, it's an MMO, and it was like I could walk around with a big sword and all that stuff. And I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I was looking for. So I only did like, a month. I only played for like a month or two. I only played in the summers, really. I knew that if I went into college with a subscription, I was going to drop out of college. Right. And, I'd be disowned by my mother. And so I
had Mama Rodz disown you.
Exactly. and so I only ever played in the summers, right about until Kata. Kata was kind of when so it was like 2008. So my memory, I think it was like Burning Crusade. I think it was around there.
2008 would have been like the end of Burning Crusade,
And so like, it was kind of, because I remember when it was the next summer, and I was like, oh, I'm going to play World of Warcraft. And then it was like the loading screen changed, or the starting screen changed, and it was like, Syndragosa, and it was like, Wrath and all that stuff. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Again, I was really new to like PC games, and it was just like, I always stared at the same like Halo start screen all the time. They never changed. So,
all right. Yeah. That's a pretty good answer. What did little Rollie, I don't want to call you little Rollie. What did little Rollie make? What was your first character?
I actually made a warrior first.
Oh my God, Rollie, did you hear that?
Yeah.
The collective groan?
Okay, but the funny thing, here's the funny thing about it though. So I made a warrior, right? And I played the warrior for maybe about an hour. And I remember vividly when I made the swap to Paladin. Because I don't know if you know Elwyn, right? I made a human warrior. Westbrook Garrison, like right in front of where you fight Hogger.
Hold on. You went into a fantasy game and you made a human warrior.
Yeah, I'm basic.
Very adventurous.
I'm basic. I order white chocolate mochas. My wife calls me a basic white girl all the time.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good.
Little human warrior Rollie.
Okay. So Westbrook Garrison. Excuse me. And it was like right where Hogger, you fight Hogger, and like there's that tower or whatever. I wasn't even fighting Hogger. I was like trying to get knoll bands or something like that, like armbands. And I was dying, and this paladin rolls up, heals me, and then is like, and I'm like, oh, dude, thanks. And he was like, yeah, I love being a paladin. I just heal myself and I can bubble and run away and whatever. And then he just leaves. And I'm like, wait, I don't have to use bandages and like try to find things. I can just do that on my own. And I'm like, all right, screw this. I deleted that guy because he had the name that, you know, he back then it was the Rollie, it was way before Rollie Rodz. And so I deleted that guy and then just made a paladin. And then the rest is history.
The rest is history. You were like, man, these pump.
Yeah, no, I didn't even, damage wasn't even all I want. I was just like, I can heal myself. Like that was the beginning of, that was the one thing that was like, oh yeah, that's why I want to play Paladin.
I love that. How did you engage with the game when you started playing full time and you were like, all right, this is it, I'm in? Did you finish university before you started playing full time? What were you taking? Can I ask what you were taking? I know that's a personal question.
Music education
cool.
is what my degree is in. Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't even get close to being in music, but it's there.
You're pretty close. You're kind of like singing at work.
A little bit.
It's music. There's an organ.
I don't play music, but it
counts.
Okay, we're not that kind of. It's a little old school. But,
you are my head.
Yeah. But yeah, Kata was kind of when I started playing, I guess, the most, and like I was like, okay, I can balance school and stuff like that. I was a little more mature, you know what I mean? I was like 20, and so Cataclysm was kind of when I started playing, or that was my first fully leveled character. You know, I think it was like 85 back then.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Funny thing was I was a paladin, but I was leveling as tank just because I wanted a sword and a shield, and that was the fantasy that I wanted. So I had no concept of damage meters and add-ons. I was a clicker. It was a whole thing, right? I was just the most like vibing the dude out there, and I was just like, everybody was telling me like, dude, you should really play Ret, and I'm like, yeah, but I got a shield and it's cool. And I remember like, you know, like the shield of Lordaeron or whatever was like one of the things I was like, I want it, you know, one day I'm gonna have it. And so yeah, so that's Kata was kind of when I just started playing, you know, quote unquote full time, I guess. It was my first fully leveled character, but I didn't step foot in like a raid or a dungeon or any. I mean, I did dungeons, but I never did any raiding or anything really until like, I think I tried a raid in Mists of Pandaria with the guild, and we were like a really small guild, so we had to pug a lot, and it was just like we didn't want to deal with people. So it really actually wasn't until like BFA.
Oh wow!
I think until like I really actually was like in a guild and like completed a whole raid. Even through Legion, it was like I was like an LFR guy that was like, yeah, I would kind of do stuff here and there, and never touched M+ until Shadowlands, I think, actually.
Wow. Was Rollie Vibes the happiest you've ever been in the game? When you were back just clicking and running around and saying, you know what, I got the Crest of Lordaeron, I ran the Culling of Strathholm 75 times till that dropped. I know the shield you mean. I know exactly the shield you mean. That is a great
Mal'Ganis.
shield.
Mal'Ganis. I ran it a lot.
It's a great shield.
I think Mists of Pandaria, because of the guild that I was in, it was just, we were all just friends. It was people that I met completely through World of Warcraft. It was my first time ever, like just completely meeting people online and knowing them for like a long time and like talking with them, and just, I still to this day have never really met any of those guys.
Are you still friends with them?
We're still like they've stopped playing the game. But there was a few times where they're like, "All right, we're coming back," and they'd be back for a little bit, and then they stop playing, and they come back, and they would always message me and stuff like that. So it's been a few years since then, but man, I have really great memories of that. Was it the happiest? I don't know if that was the happiest. I really love where I'm at right now with the guild that I'm in, and we're in the Dungeon Dojo together. I really like where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's the game. I think even the game right now is in a really good spot. I feel like we're in the golden age of Warcraft. How come we never know we're in those golden years when we're in them? You know what I mean? But we do know. Yeah. We do know because we're saying it right now.
True. That's right. Yeah, you're speaking it into existence.
That's right. I love it. So you started raiding around BFA time, Mythic Plus and Shadowlands. That's a short. That's not long ago. Shadowlands is one expansion. BFA is only 2 expansions. Your trajectory, and skill level in the game to go from, vibing, clicking to M+ title pushing, CE rating, that was quick. Did you know that you were going to be that good at the game?
No, I still consider myself good at the game. I don't consider myself really good at the game, Mm-hmm. I only have 1 CE, 1.5, I say sometimes. I progged like 80% of Razageth.
Okay.
With my guild at the time. And then I missed the kill week because of work. And then the next week after that was the last chance to get it, but everybody wanted to take a break. So I was like,
oh no, that counts. 1.5. We're giving you the kill.
1.5.
We're giving you the kill.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ian, make it happen.
We can do that.
It was weird. It was BFA. My first AOTC was Ajara.
Oh wow!
I can't really remember anything about the fight. Really,
sucked.
I remember chains. Yeah, I remember I remember chains, and there was I don't even. It might have been a boss. It was 2 lovers or something. That whole raid was a blur.
Yeah, not great. There's the eel. There's a whole fight where you're swimming. It's
the fish one.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, that was a weird time. So that was actually my first AOTC. I was with some random guild that I found. And then I found Pylon. And then after that, I found Pylon, which is a guild that I was in for all of Shadowlands up until they were. I got CE with them in Aberus, and so from there was kind of the Nyalotha was when Rollie Rodz came online and became I wasn't an NPC anymore. I was a player, and that was that started the path to gamer dumb.
I love that. I love that. You first get the game, your Rollie Summers, summertime playing, then your Rollie Vibes, you're clicking around, and all of a sudden Rollie Rodz is we're online. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Did you start streaming at the same time?
I had started streaming. Oh God, I don't remember what year it was, but yeah, I was close to that because I remember because my GM, who's now a really good friend of Pylon, I was like, "Hey man, is it cool if I stream raid?" And he was like, "Yeah, whatever, I don't care." And I was like, "Oh man, I had no concept of what it streaming with people and stuff like that at the time. It was kind of, I was still fairly new to raiding. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't know if it's okay. Should I have comms in? Should I, I was having all this, I was all worried about it. And then he was like, yeah, you do whatever you want, dude. As long as we're killing bosses, I don't care.
That's spicy. I don't like to stream raid because I can't control what those 19 other people are going to say.
Yeah. I've learned over the years. I learned relatively quickly and a few other times that, streaming raid to me actually, and now, I'm not raiding Mythic anymore, but I'm a raid lead. So my brain is super split. So to split it between trying to perform and raid lead and be entertaining and talk to people, it's too much. And so, that's why I do a lot more lore stuff now. You see, you've seen.
Yeah, nice. We're going to talk about that. We're going to quick detour from the content creation talk because I do want to get more into that and see how it sort of ties into your real life work. But you mentioned you're a raid lead now. So you left Pylon, which is a name that I know for some reason, and it's probably through you, but I recognize that name for some reason. You left Pylon and you joined a little team called Dayglow.
Yep.
You made the conscious decision to go from CE rating or CE adjacent rating to down to AOTC. Were you made the raid lead right away?
No. So a little bit of backstory. So from Ny'alotha all through Shadowlands, we were probably, I think in Ny'alotha we were just about to get to Soccer Boss. I forgot her name.
Zalat. Nope.
Yeah, nope. I think it was something with a Z though, or an X.
She's in the next one.
She's exactly.
Xanesh.
Huh?
Xanesh.
Yeah. We were right about to get to the Soccer Boss and Mythic, and we were like, nah. It was already kind of late in the tier, and so we were like, we're good. We'll just gear up for Shadowlands, and raided all of Shadowlands with them. And so I was an officer for a little bit, did a little bit of recruitment for them, and so like it was really cool because we actually got to like build the guild up, and so we saw a lot of people come and go, and a lot of trials and stuff like that. And I tell you, the roster boss is absolutely a real boss.
Yeah.
All of Shadowlands was basically just defeating the roster boss, and even into some of Shadowlands. But really, what had happened is when we got to Dragonflight, it released at a weird time, and so I work at a church, so Easter and Christmas and kind of Mother's Day are kind of like really big, busy times. And I mean, and again, roster boss is a real thing. And so I didn't want to be a detriment to my team and to the guild. And so I was like, hey, I'm just I will fill in whenever I can. But don't, just permanently put me on the bench. And if I can be there and fill in for something, even if it's just for a couple minutes till someone can get on or whatever, like do that. So in that, I had to find somewhere else to raid. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to lock myself out to Mythic because, I want to be available. And so I was like, oh, well, let me just, find, another cool team to a group of people to play with. And I had just joined the Dungeon Dojo around that time. And that's when I met, someone from Dayglow, and that's, we're an affiliated guild with the Dungeon Dojo for the NA side. And so that's when I first got introduced with them and started raiding with them. And then kind of still playing with Pylon when I could, and then playing with them. And then it's funny, I didn't actually kill a single Mythic boss until like of for Vault. Like I did more prog on Razageth by itself than I spent on the rest of the raid. I think like I was on a reclear night and I was like getting like TLDR, notes for the boss. And I was like, and there were times like my raid lead was literally raid leading and just putting a special marker for me so I can just like, try to find where I'm at. And he's like, just follow this marker, you'll be fine. And
nice.
Like, so it's funny. I spent, yeah. It was before pings. Or did they have pings? I don't think they had pings. I don't know.
That would have been before pings, yeah.
Anyways, so it wasn't until Aberus that I really got to like, get into those later bosses and stuff like that. And then that's when, Sarkareth is when I got CE. So I was still raiding with Pylon. They started an hour earlier than Dayglow did. So I would raid Mythic. And then for the last hour of Dayglow's raid, I would jump in and, try to help out. Cause, at that point, Heroic is, it doesn't matter if I was locked or not or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it was actually this last tier, I had helped raid lead Sarkareth a little bit just because I was like, I knew the fight so well at that point. I was like, guys, I can just help you out. And then it wasn't until a Mirdrasil that I was like, okay, well, I've been with them and I still, my schedule's still really weird, and Pylon was doing fantastic on their own. So I was like, I don't want to mess with anything. So I was just like, let me just, hang out and have a good time and stuff like that. And, I really wanted to focus on my stream as well. And, we just talked about Mythic rating isn't the best, most entertaining content. I won't say it's not the best, but it's not the most entertaining content in my eyes. But so I was like, okay, well, let me, play with these guys. I like hanging out with these guys. And so we had a raid lead, and then they had some stuff going on, so they had to step down, and so it was never really like I was never really like appointed raid lead. I just started doing things. I just
Right.
started making calls and just started, hey, we should probably do this. Hey, we in my experience, whatever. And so I had a lot of experience at that point. So so it just kind of fell into that, being a thing. And then now everyone's just like, yeah, he's the raid lead. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm the raid lead.
I'm the raid lead now. Hey.
Yeah.
I'm the raid lead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I walked in and that's what I did.
Yeah, I love it. And nobody knew if you were pointing at your eyes or not because of the pit vipers. So you haven't had a full, or was Emerger still your first full tier of like, I'm just AOTC?
Yeah.
That was the first time. The CE rating? Do you miss the Mythic push?
Man, it's fun, but that roster boss, man. I know I keep talking about it, but I think it's because I was a recruitment officer for a little bit. And man, I just really being so locked down to 20 people, and thankfully the cross server thing's going to be changed in next expansion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a lot of that stuff that I guess that kind of put me off more so. But yeah, I mean, to clear bosses and to play as a team like that at a quote unquote higher level. Yeah, I miss that. There's a competitive side to me of like, if there's a damage meter, I want to be at the top, all that's, stuff like that. So I do kind of miss that side, but I think what I found in playing with Dayglow is that like, I can still be competitive. I can still try to do the best thing, try to be the best and stuff like that, regardless of the level that that we're playing at, or regardless of the difficulty. And I really think that M Plus has taken, like, I think I like M Plus a little more than Raid. I feel like I have a bigger impact, especially as a paladin, especially as a ret, off healing and sacking and, stuff like that, freedoms, and, have all these tools for utility. And so, and I mean, ret pumps, especially in M plus.
Ret pumps. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And so I think M plus has kind of taken a little bit of a lead on what I enjoy in the game. And as far as like the competitive side, rating is still, I think, more prestigious, but I would argue that to hit like a 1% or that 0.1% title, I think that is pretty hard. If you can do that, you're a gamer. And so maybe one day I'll make the push for that. But yeah, I think I still feel like I can get my competitiveness out with Raid and M plus.
It shows. I have played with you in M plus, and every time, like, I don't even realize it's happening. Danger's happening as a high damaging point. You've already got your sack on me, and it's just really impressive at how like in tune you are with the flow of the key and what's going on. I like the sound of that little Rollie push, little Rollie titles. We're down for that. Stream that. Let's talk about stream. We're gonna dive into stream. I'm glad you found a home in Dayglow. I'm glad you're happy there. And they get a real winner, I think. Let's talk about stream. So you made an effort. You wanted to focus on your content creation. You're like, hey, you know what? I should probably just go full lore dive on the Draenei.
Yeah.
Did you do like a focus group? Was there like a big gap in the Draenei lore streamers?
Yeah.
Like,
so
here's a market I can fill.
If you want to talk about niches, Draenei lore is I just really got drawn to like the story of the Draenei, because it's a sad story. Like I mean I'm still pretty new. I mean, I've always enjoyed like I guess the meta lore of everything, but getting into like really think about like the specifics and like how people got there and stuff like that. I really, I just got really drawn to the Draenei lore, and it's a when I've researched it and started reading into the quests and stuff like that. it's, they're a story of, I guess persecution, like on the run, like, but really just perseverance. I mean, they went from like world to world to, Draenor was destroyed, and then they've got to Azeroth and like still like fighting and pushing through. And so like I really enjoy that. And while it is really sad because of the past and stuff like that has happened, like they really like push through and like have struggled to survive. And I really I don't know, like I really like that. I really like persevering and like pushing through to reach I mean, for me it's like goals and stuff like that. For them, it's just to live. But right. But I don't know, I'm just really drawn to that, of just like overcoming and persevering and stuff like that.
I like it. Is there any is full-time content creation a goal you have?
I in my mind I'm like, yeah, I would like that. I got to do the Radar IO feature about a month back, and I was like, I carved out I took a bunch of days off. I was like, dude, I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna treat it like if it was real. If all I did was streaming 8 hours a day, and that's hard. That's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. It was, man, I was like, it was a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. And I think everybody kind of thinks, I'm just gonna turn on the stream and I'll just go and it'll if I put in the time, as long as I put in the time, it's like it's a lot more than putting in the time. You got to be smart and with your timings, and you also got to be entertaining, stuff like that. So it was a lot. So I think it was really eye opening to me. I think that I had a goal of like, oh yeah, well, in like a year or two, I could do it. And I was like, well, maybe I need to wait a little longer and space out and, take my time with it. But yeah, I mean, I would love to, I really like, like I said, I really like where I'm at right now with the people that I've met and, the people that I play with and interact with. I mean, I love the Dungeon Dojo. I love Dayglow, so I really don't want to. Content creation takes a lot of time, and so I'm really enjoying what I'm doing with them. And being an officer in Dayglow, and being one of the admin teams and stuff like that for the Dungeon Dojo. I know that if I went full-time content creation, it would probably pull me away from those things. So I'm a lot more of like, let me just take my time. If it's in the cards, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, I've still got great people to play with and interact with and stuff like that. So, is it completely off table? No. I'm just going to take my time with it. And, again, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. I need a Dolph Lundgren drop here where it's, if he goes live, he goes live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude.
I'm going to see if he's on, what's that thing called? Caster creator where you like pay rich people to say things. I gotta see if he's on.
Oh yeah. No, I forgot what it's called.
Xanesh. It's called Xanesh. So all right. You talking about the Dungeon Dojo. We're gonna mention the Dungeon Dojo. So you in your day-to-day work at the church, you mentioned you're an actual production or an event producer, right? You are in the booth. You got one of those big boards with all the dials and the slides, right?
Yeah, well, so I'm a broadcast engineer, so my job is equipment.
Yeah, the board guy.
Yeah. Well, that's one of them. There's multiple boards, but yeah. So basically, I help every weekend. My job is to and during the week, but mostly the weekend. My job is to put on a concert and a TV show. That's essentially what I do. So being a broadcast engineer, my job is to make sure any of the audio, video, lighting equipment is working, is functioning. And I also help, with the creative side of like, okay, I understand the equipment. What can we do with the equipment to make what we do interesting and fun and stuff like that? And so it's really cool. I'm really blessed to be able to do what I get to do. And I'm assuming this is where you're going with it. It's helped me to do things with the Dungeon Dojo, with the DDI and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you were the head of production for the, you assisted with production in the Race to World First, I believe. And then you were the head of production. Just say yes. And then you were the head of production. Nobody's going to fact check. And then you were the head of production for the last Dungeon Dojo Invitational as of recording. There's a new one coming up, which you are also maintaining, I assume, the head of production role for.
Yep.
When that opportunity came up, were you just like, this is going to be so easy for me because I already do this all day long?
Kinda.
Yeah.
So
wasn't that easy?
It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, but it was funny because
kinda.
Because it's just like it's funny because I play Paladin, and I'm always going to point everything back to Ret and playing Paladin, but I like to be helpful. Whether it's helping raid lead, whether it's helping recruit, whether it's giving you a heal or giving you that big sack, and whatever, I try my best to help you out. And so I saw an opportunity. I was like, hey, I already do this for a living. I can be helpful in this area. I love the DDI. I mean, I've competed in every single DDI. The very first one, I actually think competing in the first DDI and the exposure that it brought to my stream and just me to a new community in the Dungeon Dojo and to Dayglow a little bit, because I was playing for Dayglow in that DDI. I actually saw like an increase in like viewership, which wasn't in my context, it wasn't a whole lot, but it's an increase is an increase. And so I was like, man, I love this. This is great. I found a really good community. I found great people. They all kind of want to hang out. And so that first DDI, I think I can attribute a lot of my current, success, that I have in streaming to the DDI. I can trace it back to, I think that was actually kind of a turning point for me. Streaming wise and World of Warcraft wise, being in the community a lot more and stuff like that. So anything that I can do to help them out, I want to do as much as I can. And so that was one area that I was like, okay, this is it. This is where I can be super valuable. This is where I can help out. And, I have a little bit of an expertise in that area. So I was like, let me handle this for you so you can go do other things to leadership and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you did an excellent job. The last DDI went off almost without a hitch. From a production standpoint, it was very, very well done, and that all comes from the top. It all starts at the top with leadership. So kudos to that. And you rolled that into more. That DDI happens. You're an active member of the Dungeon Dojo, and was that like a springboard? Because you are now one of the co-admins. If Wochi and Purple Pixels die tomorrow, you, Helionyx, Frank, and Neek split the dojo into NA and EU, and each of you get half.
Pretty much. We don't want that to happen, obviously.
Yeah, no, obviously not. That would be horrible.
Yeah, that would be terrible. And the Dungeon Dojo has exploded in these last couple of years. I think, and as things grow, I think they, Wochi and Purple realize like, hey, okay, this is growing. Like we also need to grow, and in that the team needs to grow. And I'm a real big student of leadership. So another part of my job is to help manage like something like 80 volunteers a weekend.
Holy shit!
Actually, I think we're almost to 100 now. I'm pretty sure. My wife handles most of that side, but I help out with it. And so I have a passion for leadership. And so it was really just that they were like, they kind of noticed like, okay, we need to, and we're so big now. We're getting, so I think we're almost to 4,000 people in the Discord now, I think, within the community. So I think it was just, me being valuable. I think I like to give as much value as I can. I think being valuable for them, kind of gave me good graces, and I did well and stuff like that. So, yeah,
I love it. I love it, Rollie. We got streaming, we got Draenei lore, we got Ret Pumping, Mythic Plus, Dungeon Dojo Invitational. What does the future hold for you?
I just want to see growth in all areas. I want Dayglow to grow. I want our raid team to grow. I want the Dungeon Dojo to grow. You know, I want my stream to grow. I think I've finally found, you know, I know I've said this a couple times. I've kind of found my people now. And so like I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. You know, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and just kind of grow everything and, you know, see where it all takes me. Yeah, I'm sitting pretty, man. I love it.
That.
I love where I'm at.
I like that. I every time I see you go live, it's a good day for me because your streams are always just positive vibes and Draenei lore, and it's the two things I live for. I don't tease me about this Draenei lore thing a lot. It's not intentional. It's just fun for me.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't think, you know, reading quests, I was always like, yeah, whatever, man. I just got to get to the end game. I just got to, you know. Yeah. But then I started reading the quest, and I'm like, oh man, I've been missing out this entire time. There's
a whole story team that writes those, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who would have thunk?
Who knew?
Hey friends, sorry to interrupt. Let me tell you what this season's sponsor, Guilds of WoW. Simplify your guild management with seamless Battle.net and WoW API integration for all game versions with flexible viewing options that include Google Sheets integration. Use cutting-edge tools for roster management, event planning, and recruit automation with their advanced Discord bot and in-game add-on. Join over 110,000 accounts, 10,000 guilds, and 2.5 million characters thriving on the platform. Customize your guild page, showcase moments, and boost your online presence with custom domains and Twitch integration. Stay ahead of the curve with Guilds of WoW today.
Rollie, we end every episode with a 10-question questionnaire. And if you're ready, sir, I'd like to ask you those now.
Bring it.
Okay. Question number 1. What is your favorite word?
I had it, and now I'm thinking of another word, and I know that's not the word that I want.
I think you got to go with the word that's in your heart right now, Rollie. I think that's how that works.
I think it's hustle.
Hustle. Like Hustle and Flow. You know, it's hard out here for a pimp. It's a great movie.
Yo, it is. I can speak from experience. I think hustle, you know, I mean, I think in order to, you know, I think where the game's at and to accomplish a lot of the things that I want to accomplish, you know, you got to hustle and you got to be willing to put in the work and stuff like that. And again, you know, back to the Draenei lore. You got to persevere. You got to push through. You got to be able to handle challenges and stuff like that. And to me, that's kind of what hustle entails.
I like that. In the Draenei lore, by the way, I would be a broken. Question 2. What is your least favorite word?
I kept thinking about it. I don't know if I have a least favorite word.
That's a cop-out.
There was a yeah, I know, right? Yeah. You just have infinite words. You got to pick one.
Yeah. I had one guest already this season get away with that. I'm not letting 2.
Okay. Man, least favorite word. There was a word. It wasn't indubitably. There was another word that I was thinking. But now I can't stop thinking about indubitably. Right. But I don't even know what that word means.
That's a good reason.
So I don't even
it.
know why.
If there's a reason to hate something, it's because you don't understand it.
That's what I'm saying. You don't. Yeah. Yeah. That's good words to live by. That's words of wisdom right there.
Words of wisdom. That's right. The whole way underway. All right. Question number 3. We're sticking with it. Question number 3. What sound or noise do you love?
Dude, metal, like clanging metal, like. Just harsh. Yeah, I'm an audio engineer. Or audio is kind of my thing for production. You know, I do lighting and video and stuff like that. I've learned those things over the year, but audio was the first thing that I learned. But there's just like when you drop a spoon or like a metal plate or something, you know, it's just it hurts.
Did you just describe divine toll?
But that's different. That's a tone. That has a
you just want like jagged metal
Divine Toll.
Drop it. Divine Toll is the second best sound in Warcraft.
I don't know. It's pretty up there.
A Stormstrike proc is the only thing that beats it.
I don't know about that one.
Well, it's okay.
You can have your opinion. You can be wrong.
Opinions are like okay. Question 4. What sound or noise do you hate?
We just did that one.
No, that was love.
Oh, I thought you did hate first.
No, I did love first. Oh, you don't love the metal clanging?
I hate metal. Yeah, I hate metal clanging.
Oh, I thought you loved it.
No, I hate that. This is quite
a turn.
Yeah, I thought you said hate at first.
No, I might have. There's a lot. Like
Yeah,
the
who knows?
7th show this week.
Fine. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I hate metal.
Okay.
What I love, running water,
Ah.
but like on a stream or like the ocean, or like rain. You know what I mean? Just like moving water. I don't know why. It's just super calming to me. I don't really like going into the ocean or going into lakes. You know, scares me because like, you know, rusty fish hooks and stuff like that. So like that part of me, like, but I'll sit by it, or like, you know, I used to, when I couldn't sleep, I would play like, you know, like a babbling brook noise or whatever, and it would kind of help me sleep. And then I would start to fall asleep, and then I'm a light sleeper, so then it would just wake me up, and then it became a vicious cycle. But running water.
I like that. It's a good answer. All right, question number 5. What is your favorite dungeon?
Favorite dungeon. Okay, this one, it might shock. I don't know. It might not be shocking. Borderline Stockholm Syndrome. I really like Ruby Lifepools. I've ran that dungeon so much for...
Favorite.
Yeah, favorite.
Okay, I just want to make sure you
I
don't
know.
think
That's why I was saying...
I didn't reverse
It's
these.
weird. It's... Dude, that dungeon to me, I think if you go in with like your 5 buddies, your 5 friends, and you guys are like on it and coordinated, I think it's a really fun dungeon. Like, I think it's terrible in pugs, but I think if you went in there with like your 5 friends, you know, perfect setup, I think Ruby Lifepools I think it's a really fun dungeon. It's just hard enough that, you know, you have to think your way through it, and it's fun, but it's not so hard that it's like super punishing, you know? And so I think that's what I enjoyed about it. But again, a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome. I farmed that Blazehinder hoof in season 1, and then now in season 4. I still don't have it in season 4. I gave up.
Really?
Yeah, I got a champion one. It's good enough.
Had the opportunity to persevere, decided to quit. Question number 6.
Yeah, I levels a crutch.
You are broken too, sir. What is your least favorite dungeon? Also, Ruby Lifepools. Fuck that Blazehinder. I just feel so much cooler in sunglasses.
Dude, that's why I wear them. I'm telling you, it's a vibe. Least favorite dungeon, the one from Wrath with the dragons. I feel like that's everyone's.
Oh yeah, Oculus.
Yeah.
I hope that comes back as a Mythic Plus dungeon for season 2 of the War Within. I think that would be a good throwback. Question 7. What is your favorite curse word?
Dude, come on. I feel like everyone's favorite curse word is the same, and it's got to be fuck.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. I haven't been able to regionalize based on where a person lives. I can guess with like 90, maybe 85% accuracy what their favorite curse word's going to be.
Have you ever seen the video where they're talking about like the word fuck, and they're just it's like a collegiate you know what video I'm talking about? It could be it's so versatile. It's the most versatile word in the English language.
Yeah, it's hard not to pick it. It's a good one. Very basic answer, Rollie. Question number 8. What is your favorite raid? It's on par. It's on brand for you.
Yeah, that's it. Favorite raid? Man, it's hard because like I said, I really just started raiding in Nyalotha. So I didn't really, I'm kind of limited on my raids. Man, if I had to think about a raid, I didn't get this far down on the list.
It's a big prep sheet. I understand.
Yeah,
there's a lot of reading.
Man, favorite raid. You know, I really enjoyed Tomb of Sargeras. I thought that it was a really fun dungeon. I thought that it went really well. I didn't actually prog that dungeon or that raid, you know, so for all I know, it could have not been a very fun raid.
That's okay.
But I was walking through with an Ashbringer, and that's just kind of peak for me. So
yeah, that's right. It's your favorite raid. It's not what was the favorite raid for people to prog. It's your favorite raid.
That's true.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Question number 9. What is your least favorite raid?
Aberus.
Ooh.
The raid that I got CE in, least favorite raid. Which is funny because my favorite boss is actually Rashak.
Yeah, there's only 2 bosses in there that I would say would elicit this kind of response.
Zakarn?
Yeah, Zakarn and Experiments.
Yeah, Sarkarath's kind of up there too.
Oh, Sarkarath is a great fight, I think.
I don't like it. Maybe it's because I have to raid lead it. I don't like it, but
maybe it's
really it's kind of a pain to coordinate. I don't know. It's just something about that. It's just the whole vibe of Aberus just wasn't really for me. But my favorite boss is in there, and it's Rashok.
Nice. Okay. You know what? It's your least favorite raid. It's not anybody else's. You don't like Aberus. You don't like Aberus. It's okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Rollie, if Azeroth was real, where would you call home?
This is another basic answer.
I can't wait to hear you say Grizzly Hills.
No, I love Grizzly Hills. I do love Grizzly Hills. Also, shout out to Deep Home. I don't think Deep Home gets enough appreciation, but that's not where I'm at. It would be Northshire Abbey.
Oh, wow.
Just Elwyn Forest.
Wow.
Human Paladin. Again, basic answer. I understand, but
not the Eridar? Not a Jermis style?
No.
Not Draenor?
No. Yeah, the crash site. Yeah, that's... no, it's just, that's where it all started, but you can't, I mean, I know people talk about Grizzly Hills and, the Azure Span with like music and stuff like that, but I just love Elwyn Forest, man.
Yeah.
It just brings it all back. It's the nostalgia. I just love Northshire Abbey.
That's right. And remember the Northshire Abbey.
Yeah.
I love it. Rollie, that's it. That's the whole show. We did it. We made it all the way through. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
And I just did a quick check. We are at 47 likes, which means we hit our stretch goal. You're gonna give us a little peek of those peepers. All right. I'll take mine off too, so you don't feel uncomfortable.
You're gonna be disappointed.
No, it's gonna be great.
I feel like it's gonna be a little okay.
I love it. That's beautiful. That's great. You want to put them back on though?
They're gonna go back on.
Gonna stay on brand, right? Can't be giving that shit away for free.
I usually charge people for that, so you're lucky.
Ooh, buddy. For free. Thank you very much. I feel blessed. Rollie, this has been a lot of fun for me. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Dave, thank you, man. I really enjoyed it.
Tell our listeners where they could find you.
Yep. I'm on Twitter, formerly called X, Twitch, YouTube. I have an Instagram, but I don't really use it. But all of them Rollie Rodz. I'm Rollie Rodz everywhere. Nobody ever takes that name, so it's great.
You should spell that in case people are putting an S on the end.
Yep. ROLLIE RODZ. I'm cool.
That's right. He is cool, and he's great. Friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. Hopefully we see you next week. And remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Recruit a Friend. You can find us on Twitter at RAF_podcast and everywhere you find podcasts as Recruit a Friend. If you'd like to support the show directly, you can find us on Patreon, where you'll get all episodes early, as well as some fun behind-the-scenes perks.